Hello, this is JY3. This is round 13 of AOR F2 Season 15, and this time we're at Japan. You can see from the indicator there, it is a wet race, which I'm very happy about because my practice for the dry was absolutely nothing, basically. So having a wet race means it's slightly level playing field with the other drivers who've probably practiced a lot for the dry, and I've done absolutely nothing, pretty much. So wet, I should be okay in the wet, but changing my setup now for the wet. Raising the front wing, well, no, not raising the front wing a bit because you can actually do that before you start the race. Lowering the transmission to make it easier to get traction, and turn the brake pressure down a little bit for the front lockups, and the ballast, definitely turn that down slightly so you didn't get mad understeer everywhere. Down to 8 from 10, and now into the qualifying session, which is still dry, which I'm not expecting much from because obviously I haven't done any dry practice really, and I'm also using a compromised setup now. So onto this is my best lap in qualifying, currently 12th in the session, but I haven't actually set a time because it's invalid. Now the first corner braking just as the curve starts on the apex of turn 1 for turn 2, down to 4th gear, and getting good exit there. Up to turn the first sector. It's very nice if you get it right, but it's also not very nice if you don't get it right. So this time I'm pretty decently, keeping it in 5th gear for the majority of it, down to 4th slightly, but this hasn't been a great run for it, but it's been decent. Now up through Dunlop curve, don't clip the curve on the outside too much, as we have, that's a pretty good run through there. Now Degner, which is very difficult to get right on the pad, but we've done it decently there, not quite on the apex of either Degner there, but we've still got a good exit, and we're up to the hairpin now, and braking just as the curve ends on the right hand side. Well, that might be slightly too early, I never really got that sussed out, that braking point. And the exit, getting good traction, and it's been an okay lap so far, should be a decent position. Obviously I'm never good at qualifying, so not last is a good position for me. Now coming up to spoon curve, braking just as the 50-meter board just after it, and now braking just before the curve ends, and missing the apex a little bit on the second part of spoon, and over the curves down towards 130 are now flat out completely, and in the 2017 cars it is easily flat, and it has been for a while, but you can see I'm 2 seconds down on pole, which is not brilliant, so it's not going to be a good position really. And now braking at the 100-meter board for the Casio triangle, clipping the curve nicely on the inside, a little bit of a maybe a slight corner cut, but not too badly, so no one really cares. And yeah, coming up to the line now, and it is going to be 9th place at the minute, 2.3 seconds off pole, which is shocking, but this was my next lap in quali, and I've actually just run wide there, which is that lap over with, so I'm going to come back to the pits and just retire. Then you can see coming up to the back of the pits, and I've actually disconnected, so that's a good sign. And yeah, not brilliant there. If I can't get back in before the end of quali, then I'm out the race. You don't start the race, so hopefully it's actually sent me like very quickly. I never actually went offline, so it's very weird. I don't really know why I disconnected, because my internet, like, I never really disconnected from Xbox Live. You can see this is my rejoining, and I sped this up to I think 4 times, so you can see rejoin the party and everything. It was a really weird glitch. It just disconnected from the party and the game, but Xbox Live didn't actually go off. So now getting back in session just in time, you can see the qualifying session literally ended as I rejoined. So we are actually going to make it onto the grid. But we're at 11th place, which isn't terrible for me. So it's a pretty good place to start the race, just outside the points, because obviously points are my aim for every race this season. Although that is the slowest time, I didn't realise that. There's only 13 drivers, so 11th is actually pretty terrible. But 0 on pole from the Team Mercedes. You can see wet race, and it's going to be one single cloud of dry at the end, but I doubt it'll ever get dry enough. And now onto the grid for the 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix, starting for 11th place on the grid. And it's a pretty long hold, but it's a lights out eventually, and away we go. And I'm not really ready for the start, as I was just stressing about the disconnect, but thank you for Delta Chief for sending the invite so quickly and getting me back into the session. Now down towards turn 1, try and avoid extremes, we actually run into the gravel, followed LK off the track, and that's not gone very well at all, already down to last place. And I was just, like, because it's very wet, obviously there's cars everywhere, you can't really see your braking point very well, and I just missed it and went straight on, followed LK off the track. But now by the end of lap 1, you can see we've already caught up to a few cars. Living Dead's gone wide at 130. We're going to try running outside off the Renault car into Casio triangle. Don't brake too late, otherwise I'll lose front wing on LK, but we don't do that. And we're running outside Living Dead now, and that should be that position done, and it is up into 12th place now. And that's very close to the inside pit wall there. That would have been catastrophic if it hit that. And now coming in the stream of LK, but not close enough for now. But he's into Degners, and he's gone wide into gravel, so going to go up the inside, and that's another position gained, which is a pretty decent. Recovered back to my good position already after that mistake in turn 1. And you can see on the mini map, no one has really broken away yet, and you can see the next 2 cars are Extremes, and I'm not sure who that is ahead of him, but we're very close to him. It's Oasis. Extremes gone for a move on the inside. We could try stay with them. Extremes got very wide in the second part. We're running outside. Oh, Extremes down towards the line. Oasis also didn't get a great exit there. Extremes get up the inside. Can I try and take advantage of turn 1, but I doubt it, because they're pretty far ahead of me now, but Extreme's up the inside into 9th place. And it looks like he's going to be able to hold that unless Oasis swings are on the outside, but I doubt it, and Extreme still takes that decision. But he's actually gone wide in turn 1. That is going to be very detrimental for his position. Oasis back up the inside, and I've got to try and don't want to lose my front wing or anything, but we try to take advantage of anything that happens. And Oasis unfortunately hold that position for now, and LK still right behind me as well now onto the following lap 4. And Oasis and Extreme still right ahead of me, but you can see the gap ahead of Extremes now is pretty substantial. You can see that kind of the gap between people who practiced and people who didn't. We're on the inside of Oasis now in the S's section. This is a very unorthodox place to try and make a move, and it doesn't come off that time. But now into the Dunlop curve, very close. Could have lost my end plate there, but luckily we didn't. And now down towards the Degners. We've got to try and stay close to and maybe line up a move into the hairpin just after, but Oasis actually run wide and into gravel, and that is that position again. So 2 mistakes in 4 laps for the drivers ahead of me, and I'm back up into the points, which is very nice. I'll take that if I can stay here. But now into 9th place, Bobbert's my teammate is behind me. I'm pretty sure he pit early, and now you can see lap 12. Nothing really happened for that stint apart from me just trying to stay with Extremes and go for a move wherever I could, but never really came to fruition the chance to move. So unfortunately into the pit stop, we're still just behind him, but Red Bull are a lot further in the pit, a lot earlier in the pit lane than Sauber, so maybe I could jump into pits, but unfortunately not. The Sauber is out ahead of me. The crew did a good job there for his team, and we're still in 10th place. Living Dead pitted earlier than me, so hopefully he hasn't got an undercut, but LK is battling him. You can see him up, and LK doesn't undercut me, luckily, because the undercut in the wet is very powerful, but luckily on this occasion I managed to stay in my 10th place, and Extremes is really the only car catchable at this point. Bobberts has got a much better pace than me, and everyone else in pits is going to come out reasonably near Bobberts, I think. And I see lap 17, a lot more laps have gone by, and I'm still just behind Extremes. We're breaking a lot later into last corner, closing up massively, and that could line up and move into turn 1 if we get a good exit, but he's actually got pretty decent there. And it's not really close enough. He's drifting a bit though, so we could maybe be just about close enough for a move into turn 1 if the stream's still working, which I don't know if it is or not. But now down towards turn 1, I think it is working. We're getting quite a bit, but I'm in the lean mix for some reason. Don't really know why. And now into turn 1, he's gone a little bit wide on the apex and kind of trying to take advantage of the inside. No, not quite. And Extremes hold that position for the time being. And now you can see lap 19 a couple laps later, and he's just ahead of me again. The gaps, our pace is so similar. We were just like basically a second apart the entire time. A little bit of oversteer there. I don't know how I didn't lose front wing there. That was a very panic moment. And into the Degners, I'm just going to take it slowly for a couple of laps, trying to get that out of my brain, because that was very stressful heading towards that barrier. Now you can see caught him up again within a few laps, and he's not taking the best line through Degner 1. You can see Oasis behind me is on super softs, even though it's definitely not time for dries yet. So you can see on the mini-map there's no one anywhere near behind me, so that should be that position gained really. And now into the hairpin, we're very close to Extremes. So yeah, as I was saying, like everyone, I think behind me there's a massive gap you can see, and there's only 11 people left actually. So Oasis is the last car, and that should mean that I'm getting points unless I make a big mistake or crash. So that's pretty good. After doing like little to no practice, I'm still going to get a point out of this. So luckily, that's happened. The stream's gone very wide in the second part of Spoon Curve. We've got a very good exit, and we try and get a good run now down towards 130R. We're in the slipstream and rich mix, and down towards 130R. We've got a good run. I've got to try and lift off. I don't want to go side by side through 130R in the wet. That would be suicidal pretty much. So now getting a good run through here. Very good run. Going to switch to the outside because he's defending the inside line very well. Breaking out a board side by side with Extremes. He's not really turning in very early, and that's run me off the track a little bit. I had to go wide, but I think that's fair enough. And we're through into 9th place absolutely at last, basically, because that was such a long battle for like basically the whole first stint and the second stint up to that point. There's only 5 laps left. That's how long it's been, and now we've got to try and defend it. Don't want to lose that position straight away. We're trying to defend into turn 1, gone defensive, and now breaking just a bit, trying to put him off, and he's gone wide there. So that should be that position sorted into the first sector. There is really nowhere to break at all. You can see Hayden is up the inside, is ahead of me now, and he's actually going absolutely all over the place. So he's on dry tyres for some reasons. Let's see what's he gonna. He's gone very wide at the Casio Triangle. Don't know what he's doing really. Let's see what he does here. So Hayden has once again made good friends with the Japan pit wall, as he did in F1 Esports, as that little clip showed there. But we're up into 8th because of that, and now 7th is boring shot at his pit, I think for dry tyres. So it's going pretty well. You can see on the top left now, Tapan is also in the pits for dries. So that's me up to 6th place, which is equally my best result of the season if I can stay here. But everyone else is on dries. I don't think it's wet enough. It's dry enough yet, but now it is dry enough actually. DRS has been enabled, but I've got a big gap to extremes and an even bigger gap to Tapan. I think is in 8th place. So you can see coming across the line now, it's going to be a 6th place. Which I don't know quite how that's happened. After little to no practice, as I said, but that's going to equal my best result of the season with Belgium with the 6th place there as well. So absolutely unbelievable, really. And it does say 7th for extremes. Has a stop go which wasn't served. That is me in 6th place. Which I'll absolutely take that. That's me up to 11th in the championship now as well. So I'm going to miss next week, which is USA, but then the week after is Brazil. So I've already actually done that race because it's going up so late. So that'll be up during the week at some point. So if you enjoy the video, then leave a like on it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Comment below what you thought on the video. This has been Joe 83, and I will see you next time.